Hey guys, this is Tina and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be me talking about my experience on both Hallandale Compounded Tirzepatide and Empower Compounded Tirzepatide. So let's fight about it in the comments because I might ruffle a few feathers with this one. That is not my intention, but you just don't know how excited I am to make this video. I'm going to be real honest with you. Sometimes I get discouraged because I don't feel that people are watching my videos. But every now and then, I get a comment and I was like, yes, let's talk about it. I have really wanted to make this video, probably for like a month now. But sometimes I feel like, oh, why bother if people aren't going to watch it? But I got a comment the other day and I'm like, oh, I really should talk about this because people want to talk about it. And maybe they need a safe place to talk about it. So whatever your experience is, I want you to put it down in the comments. But we're just going to get into it. So excited. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a little background story. And then I'll kind of come full circle with it. But I'm going to try to put timestamps in this one too, in case you don't want to hear me go back in time, because you know how I do. But, okay. The basics is, I've been on Compounded Tirzepatide. I took my first shot maybe like the end of July, like the last Monday in July. I think that might have been the 28th. I'm not 100% sure what the date is at this moment. But I started taking Compounded Tirzepatide at the end of July. I started with this company called Emerge something. I feel like it's some more to it, but there are multiple Emerges. So, but anywho, I started off with Emerge, and they were getting the Compounded Tirzepatide from Hallandale. So I was on Hallandale for the first few months of my journey. But you remember, I don't know if you guys, if you've been around Tirzepatide in the Tirzepatide community for a while, you might remember. But if you're just starting out, you might not remember. But sometime maybe in October-ish, things kind of went left. And the FDA wanted to declare that the shortage was over with. So we were with Hallandale, and I feel like Hallandale they was like, nope. They just upped and quit. They was like, find somebody else to do it. So I was still with Emerge at the time. So they switched over to a compounding pharmacy called Empower. So I continued my journey using the Empower product. However, when they abruptly shut down the last time due to the shortage and all of the litigation and everything like that, I said, hey, I need to try to get me like a few months. I need to try to stockpile a little bit. So I was with Emerge, and then I started doing Lavender Sky at the same time. However, I was concerned because I wasn't sure how well they would be as far as like checking. I don't know. I was concerned that I was going to get found out. I was concerned I was going to get found out by the pharmacy, because I remember reading on Reddit at one point, somebody was with a different telehealth provider, and they said that they wanted to switch over to Lavender Sky, and they used the same pharmacy, and Lavender Sky stopped them and was like, hey, what you doing? What you doing? And they canceled their order. They wouldn't let them get the prescription. So I said, hey, that's not going to happen to me. So since Emerge is using Empower at this time, when I order from Lavender Sky, I'm going to order from Hallandale, which is what I was originally using. I was originally using them when I first started. So I did this in an effort not to get discovered or not to get stopped from trying to get extra, because at the time, Emerge, which is what I was using, I still think they don't, but they won't let you get multiple months. You can only get enough for like 1 month at a time, basically, because it's a subscription service, so they only let you get 1 month at a time. And every time somebody mentions about possibly getting more months, it's always like some issue, and basically it's like a no. So I was with Emerge. I don't have anything bad to say about Emerge. However, I just wanted to be able to have more than one. And I kind of look at it like a regular prescription. Like, in theory, if my regular insurance covered it, they would allow me to get a, well, they probably would allow me, like other medications, they allow you to get like a 90-day supply. So I didn't really feel that it was a big issue, as far as people being able to get like multiple months, because I mean, technically, like with my regular medicine, I'm really on one medication, but I can get that I could get it, prescribed through mail order, and I get all 3 months at one point. And if you choose to use your medicine irresponsibly, then that's on you. But I don't really feel that we should be stopped, from getting 3 months at a time, if that's what we're going to go. So I'm going to get off my soapbox with that. So that's how I ended up using two different telehealth companies and 2 different pharmacies, because I just wanted to be able to stockpile a little bit, and my original company would not let me stockpile. Now, I have since canceled my original telehealth provider. At the end of December, they were like, hey, it's the end of the month. You should be running low. Do you want to move up or whatever? And I said, no, I don't want to. I wanted to cancel my subscription. Now, some people were complaining about canceling their subscription and having to pay extra money, but I think it all depends on when you cancel your subscription. Now, if you cancel your subscription, if you say, hey, yeah, take me up to 10 milligrams, and then once you get the medicine, be like, cancel, well, I'm sure they probably will charge you some extra. But I had canceled it before they actually had fulfilled my new prescription. Well, I guess it's a subscription service. So, but basically, I canceled it before they sent the medicine to the pharmacy. So I don't recall seeing any weird or extra charges on my account. But I might need to go back and double check. Because I looked maybe like a week or 2 after and didn't see anything, but maybe, that was around the holiday and something might have got delayed. So I might need to go back and check to see if they charged me anything extra, but I don't think so. So the meat and potatoes, let's get down to Hallandale versus Empower. Well, I started out on Hallandale, and I'm just going to be honest with you. In the beginning, I felt like it was sort of kind of working, but I wasn't like 100% sure, because I was like, I feel something, but I don't really feel anything. Shouldn't this be stronger? I was expecting something stronger from the get-go. And maybe, I don't know, because I haven't actually tried before I get into that, let me get into this. I haven't actually tried the name brand Mounjaro or Zepbound. My plan is to get my primary care physician to write me a prescription for the name brand. In the event that things go left, I just don't want to be, out in the sea without a paddle or out in the lake without a paddle for my boat. I just don't want to be stranded. So I'm going to ask her to write me a prescription for the name brand medication, and then I will kind of use it like as an emergency, get out of jail free type situation. So, but that's what I'm going to have her do. Just use write me a prescription so I can use it. And I do eventually plan on getting that prescription filled just to test it out to see if I can tell the difference. From what I'm hearing from most people, they said they couldn't tell the difference, but I don't know. So when I did first try it out, I was like, hey, especially with Hallandale, I was like, hey, I felt like this would be stronger than this. I just kind of felt like something was missing, but I wasn't 100% sure. I believe that first month, I think I lost like 10 pounds or something like that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess it is working. But I was just really expecting it to feel stronger than it was. But I have lost weight on it, so I can't say that it doesn't work. I just will say that I thought that it would be stronger than it was. And I can see why. Besides, I'm no Lily, I'm not overly sympathetic to Lily, but I can see why they're getting upset. They're losing a lot of money, but also it's kind of like the secret sauce. If you get the ingredients in the secret sauce and then you start I was about to say a cuss word. I was like, start adding shit to the recipe. If you start adding things to the secret sauce, it's kind of like or if you give somebody a recipe for a pound cake and it says put vanilla flavoring in there, but they don't have vanilla extract, so they put lemon in there, and you're like, really? Is that what we're on? And then they're like, this is my grandma's, and they like took your recipe and they're trying to they're remixing your recipe, but still trying to act like it's your recipe. So I could see how somebody would would be offended. Like if I gave you oh, I love your pound cake. What's your pound cake recipe? And I give you my pound cake recipe, and then you remix the recipe, and then you make it for somebody else, and you're like, oh yeah, that's Christina's pound cake recipe. And you're like, no, it's not. My pound cake recipe didn't have all this damn lemon in it. I'm sorry if you really like a whole bunch of lemon in your pound cake. This is no disrespect to pound cake. but so I can see how they're kind of like, hey, now they're doing too much, as my cousin would say. They got too much dip on their chip. So I too felt like, hey, is this really working? And the proof was in the pudding. The weight loss was there, but I just didn't feel as strongly as I thought that I needed to feel with it. What I do like about Hallandale, though, is that I feel like the units are easy to calculate if you are in between doses. So I feel like since we've been using even numbers, it's very easy to calculate if you want 5 milligrams worth or 7.5 milligrams worth. It's very easy to calculate because they're not adding B3 or B12 or anything like that. So it's very easy to calculate. Now, what I think that they could do better is the packaging. Now, I've never had any Hallandale order that has got damaged in transit. I've never had any of them be damaged in transit. I never had any frozen. I haven't never had any arrive hot. So I think that part they got down packed. But I do feel like the boxes that they're using are like standard FedEx boxes. And I feel like that if they get better packaging, like the better boxes, the boxes wouldn't arrive to you mangled. I think that it's just, oh my gosh, I should have stopped my video. I feel like, hold on one second. I feel like they need to get better boxes, more so boxes that are custom to what they're doing. I feel like they've made a lot of money doing this, and the least that they could do is invest in better boxes, because I feel that one of these days somebody is going to get something and it's going to be all mangled because the box is huge compared to what you're putting in it. And the first box I received from them was massacred, and I was shocked that the medicine was okay. The box just didn't arrive in good condition, but that's kind of nitpicky. So I don't really think that matters as much. It would really only matter if it arrived damaged, and then that would just be another layer or something else that you'd have to put up with. Now, when you order things online, that's a chance that you take that something will arrive damaged, but I really do feel like they need to do better as far as their packaging is concerned. For me, since it doesn't feel quite as strong, it always gives new people, especially if I hadn't started out on Hallandale, I probably wouldn't have noticed. But if you start out on something else and then you go to Hallandale, you're probably like, something don't feel right. This don't feel quite as strong. So I think I think that not feeling quite as strong could be a plus, but it could also be a minus, because for some people, if you're starting out on something else that felt stronger to you, or that your body more so agreed with, you feel like, hey, I'm just injecting water. um, so, um, I mean, it's a, what they say, a half a dozen in one, six in the other, or that saying. So I think that's all up to personal preference. I feel like it doesn't quite feel as strong. But I also feel that one could probably help with long-term, being able to make long-term healthier choices. I think that on a certain level, we all have to, try to work on, especially if we're going to be doing this lifelong, or even if we're not going to be doing this lifelong, we need to work on trying to get some of our, I don't know a good way to say it, but we need to work on making healthier choices. And I don't feel that you always need to feel so suppressed that you are missing natural hunger cues. I think we just have to learn, when we get hunger cues, how to deal with it. And I also feel with Hallandale, I am more able to easily eat and drink, which can be a slippery slope. But I feel that with Empower, which I'm going to talk about next, I don't feel that I'm as able to easily eat and drink. Okay, so I talked about the units being easier. I talked about the packaging. I talked about the overall feeling of not feeling quite as strong and everything like that. So for me, in the Hallandale versus Empower, it's hard to say at this point which is better, but let me go over to Empower. What I don't like about Empower is I feel that the dosages are harder to calculate. Since they are adding that, I believe it's B3 that they add, it changes the amounts of units that you need, and it's not as easy mathematically to calculate. Oh, I forgot I was drinking my coffee. I only have a little sip left. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like mathematically it's as easy to calculate your dosages if you are in between doses. For example, with the Hallandale that I have right now, if I want to be on 7.5, it's just 75 units. That's real easy. But if I wanted to be on 7.5 on Empower, then I'd have to do a little math to account for the added B3 that is in there. So I think it's just not as easy to calculate when you are self-dosing yourself or giving yourself dosages that are not traditional. So that's one, X for, that's one where Hallandale kind of like trumps Empower in that sense, where it's just easier to dose Hallandale than it is to dose the Empower one. But I do feel that Empower packaging is better. I feel that their boxes are more like custom for the product. And I feel that your item is less likely to be damaged. Now, let me just repeat. I haven't received a damaged item from either one of them. But I do feel that Empower just packages the orders better. Now, the feeling. If you're all about the feels, for me personally, I feel that Empower is strong. Not strong, but strong. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like with Empower, I feel like you take it and you know you take it and you feel that you take it. And that can be a good and bad thing. I feel that maybe during times of like PMS or during times of emotional upheaval, I feel like that will be a better choice because you can feel it. Like, oh no, don't even think about trying to eat a piece of cake or some ice cream or something like that. I feel like you really feel the medicine. That's for me. So if you really want that strong feeling, you might want to try Empower. However, when I was on my Facebook group and people because we all had started out on Hallandale and then we switched over to Empower. There were some people in the Facebook group who was like, nope, I don't want that. Give me Hallandale. That's what I like. That's what I want. I don't want additives. I don't want extraness. I don't want extra calculations. I don't feel, so I think it's all up to personal preference at the end of the day, because some people will like some things and then other people won't like it. But I feel like that Empower medicine, I feel like it's strong. I feel like the 5 milligram dose of Empower probably feels like the 7.5 milligram dose of Hallandale. Like, I feel like the Empower is just stronger. I don't know if it is. It could be totally like in my head, or it could be like a total personal thing where my body just feels a certain way on that particular medicine. But even though I feel like Empower is stronger, I also feel that it's harder to get the basics in with Empower, just because I feel like it's so strong. It's like hard for me to get the water in. It's hard for me to get all the protein in. It's just hard for me. It's just harder for me to eat in general. So I feel like it's harder. It's harder to get everything in. But sometimes I feel like in certain situations, in an ideal world, I could have something that's kind of like in between those two, something that felt a little bit stronger than Hallandale, but something that's not quite as strong as Empower. So in an ideal world, I would want something that's kind of in between. Or what I would really like to do is maybe like during the week that I'm experiencing PMS, take the Empower, and then the rest of the time, take the Hallandale. The problem is, with puncturing your valves and everything like that, I don't want to like have two open vials at the same time, so to speak. But in an ideal world, that's what I would like. So to make a long story short, I do feel a difference between the two pharmacies, but I can't really tell you which one is better than the other. I mean, honestly, I feel like in certain points in my life, I need certain things, and in other points, I need other things. So it's hard for me to say overall which one is the best. However, if you had experience with both of these, or just experience with one of these, comment down below. Or if you have some other pharmacies that I haven't talked about, I've only dealt with these two pharmacies, so I can't really compare them to any other. But if you have any comments about other pharmacies, put it down below and let's talk about it. I feel that a lot of people feel like Hallandale is like the gold standard. That's like the best of the best as far as compounding is concerned. But I think it's all about personal preference and what works best for you, and most importantly, what's allowed in your state. You might not be able to get Hallandale in your state. You may not be able to get Empower in your state. So I think at the end of the day, I think we all kind of need to shop around and just find what provider or pharmacy works best for you, and what you like and what you don't like. And you may find in the end, you might not find something that you 100% like, but you find something that you're just willing to tolerate. So, to make a long story short, if I hadn't been on Hallandale and then had to get switched over to Empower, because it wasn't originally my choice to get switched over, it was just Hallandale stopped providing to my telehealth provider with that first FDA, I was going to say stunt, but incident. So they switched over to Empower, and if I wouldn't have switched over to Empower, I wouldn't have known how strong it could be. So that also has me questioning, like, I wonder what that real Zepbound is like. How does that hit? How does that hit? But you know what I'm saying. Basically, but I think it's all about personal preference. I can't really say one is better than the other. I kind of feel that they're kind of, they both have their pros and cons. It just really depends on what you like. And I think especially since we are afforded the opportunity to have options, then we should, shop around and kind of find what works best for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate any comments that you may have. Please leave them down below. If you want to pick a true winner, you can. If you use both and, want to say, hey, no, this one is the best, hands down, then put that down in the comments. I am curious to see how different people have different effects. So I just want you guys to leave your comments down below. Or if you had if you have someone that I haven't talked about, like a different pharmacy and your experience, you can put that down below. But I appreciate the Titan that left the comment about the Hallandale, because I really wanted to make this video, but I wasn't sure that anybody wanted to hear it. But if there's just one person you can touch, you should. So thank you so much for giving me the motivation to stop messing around and to finally record this video, because I had wanted to talk about this, but I'm like, I don't know if people want to hear that. I don't know if people are going to watch. But if you just have one person that you touch, it can be all worthwhile. So that is it. That is all. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video.